And here is a special process of the 37th page of my comic, Epitome. And so in this page, well, you have to read it to see. So in this page, there are three characters. There's Danica, the one who's on the ground, about to get his ass whooped. And the one on top of him is Vest, and the one behind him is Tejon. So let's see. The person who sponsored this page, they also requested a process video. And that's another great thing about Patreon. They allow me the time to work on a comic and also uh, to do a process video to talk about it because I could go on and on. But so the client request, I asked them for questions if they wanted me to answer anything. So question is, uh, are oh uh, s- are attuned weapons able to kill Epi? I mean, they are, but are regular weapons able to work against them too? So attuned weapons are weapons, the epi, the embodiment of emotion. That's the short. They're basically the embodiment of energy, and in this case, the story is focused around the ones who are embodiment of emotion, and so they're able to turn humans, like transform them into weapons, and or into even items. But and it takes skill and you have to practice. It's not just something they could do. Like everything about them, like you have to learn it like anything else, and you have to practice and get good. But anyway, so attuned weapons allow them to kill each other, because just to answer the question, human weapons will not kill them. And when they're like fully epi, as in when they're not epinned, and epinned is basically an epi who's in their human skin, and not all epinned becomes epi. You only become epi once your human dies. Once their human shell dies. So and the only way to kill them after that, if they do become epi, then either it takes another epi to kill them or the attuned weapon. And there's a whole bunch of specific details about it. It may seem convoluted, but it makes sense. Like it covers the bases basically. And I'll have a world building wikia um, page I'm working on, so it'll be easier for me to track everything and for others to enjoy if they want as well. So right here, Vest has a attuned knife he made, and he's see pointing it like all three. They're all epi, but two of them I can't say, but two of them are just regular epi. So Vest is not a regular epi, and so he's able to do certain things that the bottom one, Danica, the one who is damn near almost got killed. Uh, he's a regular epi of sorts. So anyway, the next question was, uh, yes, the attuned weapons are able to pierce human skin. I mean, it's still solid, and it can still, of course, kill uh, humans. But see, and and epi, they can't get sick like humans get sick. Like they can, there are certain it's not like catching a cold or a sickness. It's like something that can change their whole makeup. I'm thinking like so like they could be, you know how your emotions can be manipulated, or it's like that. So just consider like those the situations that can affect, like how your emotions can affect you. Like that's just all that is just translated into a physical manifestation. So that's part of the epitome universe. So, like, if you love someone and that manipulates and corrupts, and it could either grow really ugly, then that things like that happen to them. And in some cases, they could come back from it, but or they can't come back from it at all. And like for example, they Epi can't get sick, well, their version of sick, if they were around only their own kind. Like that's what the soul groups are for. They're like cliques or gangs. Like the two kingdoms of evil and good. Where those are actually souls, but they're the most powerful. They call souls like they call them souls when it's a group of all the species of epi, love, hate, sorrow, joy, fear, and so when they're in a group, like one of each, then that's called a soul. And so, and the kingdoms are souls that are led by the epitome of evil and the epitome of good, and there's only two. So, anyway, back to souls. And how they could get sick, how Epic could get sick. So if they're in a group of only of a imbalanced, um, like if there's different too much of one emotion, that could corrupt the whole group. And usually, it's more easier to get epi sick if they're all the one emotion. So like if it was only love, a group of love, they could be sick and they'll all be corrupted and on the verge of breaking breaking down, that is dying for them. But yeah, it's I have to write all the information on that as well. So that's to answer that. If Epic can get sick, their version of sick, yeah. And another question they ask is, do they bleed? Yeah, Epi do bleed. So, um, if they just became an epi, then while their human cells die, they still have the human blood in them, and it just keeps and it'll stay as it is. It won't like multiply. I mean, it won't continue to be made within them, but it'll run out, and after the blood runs out, because their body stops working and stops producing everything that's human cells. And so when the blood runs out, then they bleed uh, themselves. It's hard to explain, but it looks like they're bleeding the universe when they bleed. It looks like they're bleeding, um, yeah, stars, and but only in its like, but some epi, their habit to remember their human form, sometimes that extends to the blood, where so even if they make it to like 100, no, like to 500 years old, they can still bleed what looks like blood, but that's because it's their habit. And but most of the time, some of them like forget, like especially when they don't bleed for a long time, then it looks like they're bleeding the universe. And they'll have to like, if they don't want other epi to see them, or to like if they want to hide like their energy from others, then they would have to relearn how to mask like their blood too. Son, yeah, and Danica here, you see uh he he's not like Vest and Jean. They are much older than him, and I won't say exactly how old. I think that'll come up in the story perhaps, but yeah, Danica is young compared to them, and they're all epi, so they're not in their human forms any long. And Danica, he's actually one of the few who don't have to, uh, who automatically made it a habit to remember what blood looks like. So his body bleeds what looks like blood, but really it's not. It's just him, sorrow. Okay, thank you. Bye.